Sis-Lo, whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, my hands are ashy. Actually. Oh, boy. My hands so dry. Hey, y'all. What's going on? I'm getting ready for work. On my way to work. And, I saw a article. Actually, I've been following this case for a minute about a young lady named Cyntoyia Brown. And Cyntoyia was sentenced to, I believe it was life in prison. Eligible for parole, I believe, in the year 2029 for murder. Now, the problem with it is that Cyntoyia at the time of the murder, I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on one second. I'm so sorry. I'm driving and I'm going to pull over. Get this right. At the time of the murder, Cyntoyia was 16 years old. Hopefully I'll get it. Okay, hopefully it'll stay. At the time of the murder, Cyntoyia was 16 years old. Okay? And she killed a real estate agent by shooting him in the back of the head. And so she was tried and she was convicted and later found guilty of murder. But what was not said about this young lady is that at the time of the murder that she was 16 years old and that she was at the time a victim of sex trafficking. So the person that she killed, the real estate agent that she was accused of killing, and that she did admit to killing, was a grown adult man, 30-some odd years old, that purchased her from her adult pimp / boyfriend, which he deemed himself her boyfriend, not by choice, by force. And she was one of her main money makers. Now, she looked like she's biracial, very pretty young lady, but she was 16 years old at the time. So she had been sold by not only her pimp / boyfriend, but she was also sold and pimped out by the agent, the white real estate agent that had purchased her from her boyfriend. Like, he actually paid money and purchased her, and he used her for his own personal services, for sex parties and things of that nature. And he was, the boyfriend, was very abusive to this young woman. The boyfriend, the ex-pimp, I'm not going to call him her boyfriend no more. I'm going to say what it is. Her pimp. At one point, he told her that you take me for a joke. You take me for a joke. I'm going to have to show you that I'm not playing with you. And he choked her out until she was unconscious. And he brought her back by beating her. Okay? So this man was physically, mentally, emotionally, and sexually abusive to this young lady, 16-year-old. And then she was sold into sex slavery to another adult man at the age of 16. He was twice her age. And he also physically abused her. After being physically abused, the only way that this baby saw to get out of this form of abuse was to free herself by killing this man. Now, we have heard of several cases like the house in Ohio where the man was like, um, they made the joke about the McDonald's sandwich, a McDonald's burger, and he was, or chicken or whatever it was, and he was going to get it, and he heard somebody, please help me. And it turns out after he had discovered that the young lady ran out the house naked with no clothes on, that her and 3 or 4 other young ladies had been held captive into this house, and they had been there for years. And all this time, their families thought that they were missing. And, they were called to be missing, but they assumed them to be dead because they had been missing for so long. Well, and once these women were free, this man had not only impregnated and had children by one of the women, but some of them had been impregnated by him, and he actually beat them until they had miscarriages. But this went on for years and years and years and years and years. This is not something that is new. This is something that has really gotten to be prevalent, and people have gotten to be blatant with the sex trafficking thing. So, at this point, this young lady, after being abused from the age of 16 to, I believe it was 19, the only way out she saw was to kill the person who had enslaved her. Now, none of this evidence was taken into account when this baby was convicted. But now, she stands to sit in prison for the next 20 some odd years. Is this right? Is this, in fact, fair? Now, there are several activists and advocates for sex trafficking victims and things of that nature. Since she's been in prison, she's since got her associate's degree. She's founded a mentorship to help people who were victims of sex trafficking, to help them overcome the things that they have encountered. So she's done all of these things since she's been in prison. But the only way that she is able to be free is that she be given clemency or pardon or what have you by the government. But this baby, in my opinion, should have never been in prison in the first place. How do you take a person, a child, who is a victim of sex trafficking, and her only out was to defend her life and defend herself and free herself by killing her perpetrator? How is that a crime? Why isn't that self-defense? Was she supposed to stay there and be a sex slave for the next 10, 15 years like these other young women were? These other young ladies that were held captive by this man? Hey, baby, should she have been quiet and just sat there and dealt with what could have been her death, her fate? Should she have not fought at all? Should she have just stayed there and died being held captive and being used